All right, thank you so much, Megan A, for sending me this link. This is Megan's panel from yesterday, where basically, from what I've seen, it's just a bunch of people being really negative, really resentful, and making a career out of that. It is unbelievable the amount of tactics and manipulation that Meghan Markle uses here, the most I've ever seen, and she does it well. So let's dive in.
Said you and what the study found.
Just to update you right now, this woman who is one of the hosts, who is not a good speaker, like none of them are, they're just making their living off of upsetting people, but she's asking Meghan about a study that apparently Meghan helped fund, researching mothers on television. I feel like there's better uses of money to help.
You guys will tell me if this is a good volume then. Yes? Okay. Well, thank you. And firstly, I'm so excited to be here and to be with such incredible women, so much brilliance on this panel, and just an amazing.
There's a little interesting thing there. This is a nuance, and we can't be sure of this, but I noticed the way she's motioning at them. You'd motion, I think it'd be more natural motion like this, or to move your hands, that you were including them, whereas she had her hand somewhat blocking them. Like, I'm so grateful to be with other women. So her body language does not look to be consistent with her words, right? She's facing away from the other women to only be in the interview, and she's putting her hand up in between.
Way to celebrate International Women's Day, so thank you all for coming to listen. Yes, as you were saying, the Gina Davis Institute and Moms First released this report, and my husband and I, our foundation, the Archwell Foundation, helped to fund it, because I think
typical Meghan stuff, right? They already said that they helped fund it. She doesn't refer to Harry as a name ever, her husband, and she's saying that we helped fund it, bragging. So she trains in PR. It's like, get your answers out there. What's your brand? What have you done, right?
From our standpoint, and certainly from mine, there are three key reasons why it felt vital to see the information they were going to be pulling through this report. So on a personal level, I've just always loved understanding women and our stories and our lived experiences and our shared experiences. So I was really curious to see
something really interesting. I've watched this several times. I only caught it right now. So most of this panel, it is quite resentful. And I notice when they'll say the word men, they say it with a bit of resentment. Meghan, when she says women, said it a little like that, like women. Very mild. It's not certain, but I noticed that just a little bit. The other women, they're talking about, it's an us versus them. Meghan seems to have a little bit
what the
of
report was going to uncover in terms of, oftentimes as women, you may agree with this, the way that we see ourselves is reflected back to us, sometimes accurately and sometimes, much to our disservice, inaccurately.
The way that we see ourselves is reflected back to us, and she's going to reference television. If you think about that, it makes no sense. Doesn't make any sense. Have no idea what she's trying to say.
In what we see in media. And so to be able to have the findings to uncover what we can do to propel that, to make sure women are really feeling seen in a way that is reflective of who and how we are and how we move through the world, felt important. From a philanthropic standpoint with our foundation, there's obviously a lot of work to be done in terms of supporting women and moms. You can begin with paid leave and and just
so bragging about her foundation, saying buzzwords that mean nothing. And something I noticed, it's very much a cult. These words are getting more and more complex. They evolve. And it's really interesting, right? Because even if you were to support a cause, you're like, yeah, people should be treated fairly. Then it gets changed to equality. Then it's equity. Then it's seen. The language keeps changing. So it's really easy to make people outsiders. So it's not really about the underlying principle. It becomes about, are you part of our group? Because the language is constantly changing, and the only way to know the changing language is to be part of the group. And that's exactly what cults do. It's constant changing language, and it separates the us versus them, versus really actually accomplishing things. And again, people like Meghan and many on this panel, they make their living doing that, right? They're making their living doing that, and nothing she's actually doing has any positive impact on women. Like, you're on a panel talking about how television's hurting women, and you're saying a lot of negative things that if I were a woman and I were watching that, I feel that it would discourage me. It wouldn't make me focus on my goals. In my opinion, you guys let me know.
Really looking at, one of the findings actually said that working moms are paid 62 cents to the dollar for what working dads are. And it's almost feeling punitive.
Just to say, with a lot of these things, they're very manipulative with statistics. So again, I'm not saying there aren't pay gaps, but they don't say we're doing overall. So they're including like a working mom who works part-time, who whatever. So it's different. And I think, again, they're going to talk a lot about judging women. They seem to absolutely despise women who do spend more time with their children, and they want to impose their worldview. Whereas I think a reasonable position is it's a choice. But them, it's you have to do it our way, right? If you want to spend more time with your children, that doesn't fit with our worldview. You should, your children are gone. You don't have anything to do with them, as Meghan seems to do.
At a certain point, when you're a mom and you're juggling so much and caring so much, and you want to be supported in the best way possible. So it's those reasons. Then, we have a production company, and as we build out our slate and have projects that we're doing, or with podcasting as well, to ensure that we are responsibly filling in the roles of moms and women to be reflected in a way that's accurate. So this report, I think, is really valuable, and just proud we could support it.
Have no idea what she's talking about. It makes absolutely no sense. She just slipped in what her podcast is doing, how they're helping, everything that she's doing. Later, it gets really crazy because she's super hypocritical and super critical of women who don't fit the mold that she thinks they do. So for her, it's really about just people doing what she wants. But thanks for watching. Thank you so much, Meghan. And it's not even spelled like Meghan Markle, so totally different. Meghan A. for sending me this.